Welcome back to Drive Your Thoughts podcast. I'm your host, Master Coach Carrie Marshall, and it's time to go after those goals.
Yeah, whether ready or not, life's coming hard, no breaks, no stop. And if you put me on the spot, don't get it twisted, I never drop. If you feel a bit out of control and out the box, here's a way that you could drive your thoughts. Turn this podcast on, it's a lock. Carrie Marshall on the clock.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Okay, it's the summer. What are you guys doing? What's going on? What's the 411? Okay, I want to tell you a little bit about how I'm spending my summer, because I know that oftentimes as parents, what we do is we get stuck because, we get so wrapped up in our kids and, they're going to be finishing school and going to summer camps and all of these things. And so I want to just kind of talk a little bit about our process in our home, but then also how I create time for myself to still go after my goals. So the first thing, and you've heard me talk about this before, but I really want to talk about the Summer of Independence because I do get a lot of questions about this. So since my kids have been really young, I have started something called the Summer of Independence. And basically what it is it's a program to just teach my kids very, very basic skills of taking care of themselves. So, I started when my daughter was 3 or 4 years old, my oldest. And really, I started it because I had a baby, a newborn, and then I had this little girl, and I think I was actually pregnant too at that time. Who knows? It all blurs together at that age. But I just remember that I had a lot going on, and I just thought to myself one day, and it happened to be summer, it would be so helpful if my oldest could just learn how to put on her own clothes and make her bed. And so I thought to myself, why isn't she? She's 3, she's 4, she could totally do this. And so that's what I started doing is I just started to think about the tasks and activities that I could have her learn how to do that would be helpful. Now, would they be the best job ever? No, absolutely not. But it was enough to get it done so that I could say yes, that's helpful. So then as we grew up, every year, my daughter during the summer would learn new skills that were very intentional. She would learn how to make a bottle for the baby. She would learn how to change the baby's diaper. She would learn how to, brush her own hair, brush her own teeth. These are skills that usually we always teach them, but I wanted to do it in a very, very set way so that we knew that as she went to school when she was older, that we wouldn't stop learning during the summer. We were going to take life skills and learn how to do them during the summer. So now I have older kids and we've done things, I've talked about it on the podcast before, but we've done things like my daughter learned how to pay for and solo travel to Hawaii. So she had to go on a plane and navigate a couple of things. Her grandparents were on the other side. So, that did help, but she had to learn that at 14. And so we're kind of working our way up to investing. This year we're working on starting a business. And they're different for every kid. But here's what I want to kind of offer and why I see that this is so important. And I really want to encourage you to think of 1 or 2 skills that your child can do themselves to really help you and really help themselves ultimately. So I remember that I was in charge of a group of young women in our church. So they were about 15 to 17, and we were getting ready for some of them to graduate, and we were having a conversation, and I said, so are you so excited to move out? And one of them was like, I'm terrified. I was like, what are you terrified of? And she's like, I've never cooked for myself. I don't know how to do laundry. I have no idea how a washer or a dryer works. And I was a little bit shocked. I was like, what are you even saying right now? And she was moving out in less than a month. And she was like, I've never done any of those things. I've never taken my own car. She's never pumped gas before. Her dad always did it for her. And that terrified me. I'm like, we are letting this child out amongst the humans. I'm like, she's not ready. And so, we started to kind of do things within our own church group to kind of help the girls that were graduating, but we could only do so much in a month, right? You can only help. And so I really thought about that. And I was like, I can't I can't have my daughters do that. Like, I really want all of my kids to have some skills so that they feel like not terrified to leave. Maybe they're going to be a little anxious or sad, but I don't want them to feel like they can't take on the world because they don't have basic skills. And I see this happen a lot. My nephews right now are both serving missions for their church. And so they leave for 2 years. And one of my nephews was telling me, he's like, yeah, I had a companion that had never navigated like roads and things together. And so he's like, so I'm with this guy and he doesn't know how to like even look at Google Maps. And he's like, but we don't have that. And he's like, so people are giving us addresses to come and talk to them and he doesn't know how to navigate. So he gets lost all the time. And I'm like, wow, we really need to teach these kids some skills here. So the reason that I wanted to bring this up for this summer is that I think that, number one, I have a free course on YouTube called The Summer of Independence. Really, if you have little kids, it's really great to start them out there. If you have older kids, it's good information, but maybe the tasks and things aren't going to be exactly what you need. But I want you to really think for yourself, sit down and think about your kids and think about a couple things. Number one, if your kids were to leave, let's say they're 16, they're to leave next year, where are the gaps? No judgment, by the way. Like, you cannot judge yourself through this. You really have to just say like no judgment. Where are the gaps here? Okay. They don't know how to use the washer and dryer. They don't know how to pump their own gas. They don't know how to make food. They don't know how to get food, money out of a bank. They don't even know how to go into a bank and talk to people. That's another one, skills of social skills. Can they do things more than text and DM people, or can they actually have conversations? Do they know safety? That's a huge one, especially for women of are we sending our girls to campuses and not talking about how to keep yourself safe? So, and for men, how to also keep themselves safe and the girls around them, right? So that's what I want you to think is that. But the second thing I want you to think of is I want you to think of okay, if I have a 10-year-old, what is going to be the most helpful thing for this 10-year-old to learn how to do to be a functioning member of our home? And so that's always where we start with how can we function within our home? That's their community. And then we go out into the big world and we're like, how can they function in actual society? But think about your 10-year-old. Are they on the computer all day and they have no idea how to pick up their room, or you're always folding their laundry for them? Well, it's time to start to let these skills be taught. And then once they're taught and that you feel like they can do it themselves, now it's time to make them accountable. It's not just about the skills. The skills are amazing, but it's also that we then tell our kids that now you're accountable for this. So when my 4-year-old learned how to make her bed, I told her, now this is yours. You're in charge of your bed. You're in charge of your stuffed animals. You're in charge of making sure that this looks good. If it doesn't, then there's going to be a consequence. If you need help, I'm here. What I'm seeing right now with kids is that there's a very, very low accountability. So they don't have a lot of things that they're accountable to. And so when we take away accountability, we start to see a lot of problems, societal problems happening. And so it's so crazy that if we go back to just teaching our kids how to have independence, how to learn some skills, some life skills, and then we give them to them. Hey, you learned how to pump gas. I'm never going to pump your gas again. That's yours. You are in charge of making sure that you have gas in your car, right? Okay, well, what is that going to entail? Are you giving them money? Are they paying for it themselves? Are they always going to have to, what happens when they do run out of gas because they didn't look at it, right? All of these things are important for our kids to be able to see, because then we start to create kids that are confident. And that is ultimately what we're all going for, is confident kids that can navigate this life. So I want you to really remember that when we talk about the Summer of Independence, it's all about creating confidence for your kids and accountability. So I talked a little bit about now, how are you going to create some space for yourself this summer and really go after your goals? Well, one of the things that I like to do specifically is I like to actually include myself in the summer of independence. So I want you to think about your goal right now. Like, what is the goal that you're going after? And then what is your summer of independence course going to be? So let's take like building a business. Let's say that you are building a business, you know that it's going well, but you don't know how to do Facebook ads. Like you've never done them before. Okay, well then your opportunity is to create a summer of independence course for yourself. Look at YouTube, go and buy a course, go and figure things out. But this is your opportunity to fail and kind of work your way through things that might feel a little bit weird, but really know that this is your opportunity to go out and do things. Just like we're telling your kids, like, hey, you don't know how to make your bed and it's sloppy. Well, let me use this summer to teach you what the expectation is and show you how to do it, and then let you be accountable for it. Same thing with your goals. Think about your summer of independence. You're going to go out and find somebody to teach you. They're going to show you the way, and then you need to be accountable for that new skill that you've built. When you can actually just put yourself right on the side with your kids. When I started to do this, because I started Summer of Independence with just my kids, it wasn't until years later that I was like, I should be doing this. But it was fun because now I have something that we can all talk to about at the dinner table. It's like, how's your Summer of Independence going? What are you learning? Where did you fail? What were some successes for you? So if you're really wanting to boost your goal and getting closer to your goal, start Summer of Independence for yourself. You'll notice that it will really, really make a difference as you go out intentionally trying to tell yourself, I'm not good at this, and I'm going to take ownership, learn how to do it, and then it's going to be mine from here on out. I hope this was helpful. Tell me what you need as far as Summer of Independence. Are you needing ideas? Are you needing to know a little bit more about the how-to of it? Come on over to Instagram at Drive Your Thoughts Coaching, and we can talk all about it over there. We'll see you later. Bye. Thanks for listening to this podcast episode. If you're ready to get in the driver's seat of your own life, you can come and follow me at Drive Your Thoughts Coaching on Instagram, or come and see more ways to work with me at driveyourthoughts.com.
Yeah, whether ready or not, life's coming hard, no breaks, no stop. And if you put me on the spot, don't get it twisted, I never drop. If you feel a bit out of control and out the box, here's a way that you could drive your thoughts. Turn this podcast on, it's a lock. Carrie Marshall on the clock.